And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and welcome to our live viewing audience. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, Voice Ed Radio Canada, wherever you are taking in our podcast. We appreciate you. Welcome to the show. To our live viewers, certainly jump in and leave a comment. And say hello to tonight's guests. Two guests tonight, not just one, but two. Dr. Jeremy Kidd, principal at South Laurel High School, as well as Brad Mullins, principal, Hazel Green, the state champion Bulldogs from way back when. I learned a little history about the district there. But I met both these two gentlemen yesterday when I was in Hazel, when I was in Corbin for the Laurel County their introduction, their kickoff to school, and it was a fabulous event. So we're going to talk to the two of them. So jump in the show and say hello. Whether you're coming to us from Laurel County, you're coming to us from the Northeast, wherever you're coming in, we'd like to have guests on the show here live. So a quick word from IXL. School's opening. You're going to do those baseline exams. You're going to check out where those students are. IXL is a great tool to get started and keep rolling throughout the year.
I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast.
All right, let's get started, friends. The opening concept is the opening of school. Schools are opening around the country. Laurel County, Kentucky starts tomorrow. Places in Texas have already started. Places in Georgia have already started. So schools are opening between now and all the way to Labor Day. So I wish the best to all of our schools and educators, certainly the schools I've had a chance to meet and work with. It's been a busy summer, but a fantastic summer. I'm so grateful to meet wonderful schools, Ballard County, Kentucky, and Laurel County, great people there in Kentucky. But the opening concept is about taking care of ourselves. We get so busy getting ready for school. We get the classroom ready. We get this ready. We're getting that. We're getting this. We're getting that. We're getting everything ready. But we're not doing the things to take care of ourselves. So 5 quick things for you to take care of yourself as we start the 25-26 school year. Number 1, rest. You got to prioritize your rest. Maybe in the summer we got a little loose with our bedtime, maybe slept a little bit more, but that bell's ringing for school. So you got to rest. Get that bedtime, start moving that clock back and prioritize the rest. Number 2, you got to hydrate. You got to drink a lot of fluids. Are you measuring it? Are you drinking the fluids, right? When the water runs out, do you go refill that cup, making sure you're drinking enough fluids? Number 3, we spoke yesterday in Laurel about this, prioritizing your exercise, your food intake, making those things a priority. Do you have enough protein? Are you staying away from the sugars? Are you taking in that healthy food that you could then lead with energy and positivity? Number 4, all leaders are readers. I'm going to ask the gentleman today what they are reading. Making time at night to read that book or in the morning to read that book, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes a night, goes a long way. And lastly, C greater than F equals R. C greater than F equals R. Shout out to Dr. Rob for that formula. And I know my friend Joe Stickle got it tattooed on his arm. When your commitment is greater than your feelings, you're going to get the results you want. So doing these things, right? You might not feel like you want to go to bed at that time. You might not feel like, getting that water or doing those things. But when you do those consistently, when your commitment to your health is greater than your feelings, you're going to get the results you want. So I wish everybody a great year. Enough of me yip yapping. Let's meet the stars of the show coming to us from Laurel County, Kentucky. Guys, welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
Hey, thanks for having us, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. And
Yeah.
first off, we're the bullfrogs, not the bulldogs.
The bullfrogs. Sorry. First mistake of the night, Brad.
Hey, listen, I mean,
You
it happens.
You got the color on there. They were certainly representing in green yesterday. But I met both these great leaders at their event, and I was able to make some changes, and we got them on tonight. So thank you for jumping in to the show, guys. Jeremy, we'll start with you. Introduction. Tell us what year you're going into. Certainly give a shout out to the South Laurel, your high school there. They represented yesterday. But give an introduction and tell us where you're at in your career.
So I'm Jeremy Kidd. I'm head principal, South Laurel High School. This is going to my 8th year back at South Laurel High School. Before that, I was head principal at one of our alternative schools in the district. So 12 years as an administrator total in Laurel County. Before that, taught math right here at South Laurel High School. Coached football before that. And before all of that, was an instructional assistant at our Laurel County day treatment facility. So a lot of different positions. So learned a lot through my leadership journey, and just shout out South Laurel.
Nice. They represented yesterday. And the Bullfrogs, forgive me, Brad. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Brad Mullins, principal at Hazel Green Elementary. Be starting year number 14 at Hazel Green. I guess this will be year 16 in Laurel County District. I was 2 years assistant principal at school in the county or in our district, Hunter Hills Elementary. Prior to that, elementary teacher in a neighboring district. So for 10 years. So ultimately, this is, I guess, year 25.
Wow. Cool. Well, welcome, guys. I wish you the best. The kids are coming tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are coming tomorrow. So welcome to school, and I appreciate you squeezing in. I know you're both very busy, so thank you for that. Jeremy, we'll come back to you. We got to spend some time yesterday. It was a big crowd. There was a lot of energy. What was your best takeaway? What was the thing that resonated the most with you, Jeremy?
Just the energy, I think, over the past several years, focusing on school culture and growing together. I think we really kind of demonstrated that. I think people are excited to get back to school. We kind of had an abrupt end of the school year last year with the tornadoes and everything that come through. So just excited to see, our school family that maybe we haven't seen all summer and gearing up to greet our kids. So I think the energy was great. I love the opportunity to brag on our staff members. I think that meant a lot. To recognize some of those folks. Maybe they don't get recognition all the time in a big setting like that. So that was awesome.
Yeah. One of those folks watching, Emily Rose Baker. She is representing the Bull Frogs there. Brad, how about you? What was your best takeaway from yesterday?
Well, obviously, kind of piggyback on what Jeremy said, just the overall positive enthusiasm from our staff. We have a tremendous district. We continuously, in the time that I've been in this district, from our leadership down, we always put student learning, student achievement at the forefront. And on a smaller scale, one of the takeaways I took, a quote that I'm going to use, I actually used it today, you don't blame the lettuce. And so I've used to, essentially, when the lettuce is not growing, find out what you're doing, and so I took that to heart as a leader. Understand your impact and what that is. For years, I've kind of used an analogy of an old baseball coach I had of, I'm struggling on the mound and it's just throw strikes. Oh, okay, buddy. I'm sorry. I've been working myself into a hitter's count all night. My bad. Let me try that out.
Giving them the tools and giving them the direction, your impact. So I like that, Brad. And again, a shout out to your district. The energy was just great. As I said yesterday, I'm usually the one that feels like I got to generate the energy, but it was the other way around yesterday. So, Brad, let's kick it off with you. Again, it's day one tomorrow. You got a lot of things to do. Give me your top things that you're going to make sure that you do on day one tomorrow.
Well, first and foremost, greet every parent that comes in the elementary school. They're dropping their students off, for the kindergarten classes. This the first time they're coming in. We're responsible for taking parents' most valuable asset, most important thing that's near and dear to their heart. And we're entrusted, to provide for them. And so I want to make sure that, they're personable, they feel welcome, that they understand that this is a caring place. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, when things settle down, go to my new staff members to let them know that it is fine to be lost. They will figure it out. And then probably third, around the time the parents leave and this, that, and the other, steer clear of kindergarten. For any elementary principal watching, take it from the veteran, there will be crying, wailing, and gnashing of teeth in kindergarten.
Who's hugging who harder, right?
Absolutely. It's so I always tell parents, it's like, look, I promise you, if you're crying and saying you're not wanting to leave them, you're going to scare that kid to death.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good luck there. Kicking off again, 2 veteran principals here. Jeremy, how about you? A little wider lens. What are some things maybe for the year that you have planned for the year? An initiative, maybe it's something going on, again, that's longer than just the one day for tomorrow.
Number one, we're onboarding a whole new set of kids, 330 or so freshmen, coming from the middle school. So, kind of teaching them the ways of the high school. What are our expectations? At some point, early in my career, I thought maybe I wanted to teach middle school, and then I got honors freshman, and I was like, no, thank you. I'm fine at the high school. It's a different read. They go from the top in the 8th grade to, now they're the bottom of the food chain once again. So, just teach them how to be civilized human beings, maybe you could say. Also onboarding our new staff members, taking care of our people, making sure they understand what's expected of them. Long-term, past that, once we get settled in, looking at revamping our PLC process. We've been working with our district folks and whatnot to implement, new PLC process that's focusing on teacher credibility and collective teacher efficacy. So hopefully, we implement those things with fidelity and we see, improved student outcomes. So that's long-term down the road.
Yeah. Those PLC meetings, how they run them, what they're talking about, what they're doing. So important, and it's got to be teacher led. You could say do this, do that, but they have to take ownership of that. Do you meet with the freshmen tomorrow? Is there an assembly, or do you give them a couple days and then you come in and say?
No, there's a student assembly tomorrow where we tell them all the things they need to know. So you got to get them here, you got to feed them, you got to keep them safe, you got to get them back on the bus and send them home. So.
All right, you're going to use a story. I gave you some stories yesterday.
Usually there's a script, but if something comes to mind, I might use that.
Okay, awesome. Well, good luck again tomorrow. Kicking off Laurel County Schools. Brad, reading. I've learned with the younger kids. I was a secondary guy too. But now I got to peek into the elementary. That reading is so important. Tell me about your leadership and how you stress the importance of that reading for all your stakeholders.
Yeah, and that is true at the elementary level. Reading is at the forefront of what we do. My belief, obviously, that is the number one skill that moves forward. Kind of to steal a Mark Twain quote: "The man who chooses not to read has no advantage over the guy that can't." And so we really use that quite a bit. And so we celebrate reading all year. Just today, we were doing staff trainings, and I was talking about how that we have to celebrate those small moments. And so I was talking to one of my kindergarten teachers that, once those kindergarten students are learning to read those little decodable text, one that last year I heard Pete the cat 10 straight times. And so I was joking, but every time, you have to stop, make a big deal out of listening to that kindergarten student read Pete the cat. And so those are ways that we do that. And it just is. It's celebrating the small successes, finding those students that are struggling to read, there's nothing that puts a smile on your heart and truly helps you understand the why of the job as listening to a struggling reader truly learn to read.
Yeah. And those teachers magically, the way they teach them to glue the words together, link them together is beautiful. Brad, if it makes you feel any better, my daughter's going to college in just 2 weeks, and I got her a poster of Pete the cat and the white. Is it the white shoes? It's white shoes, right?
I mean, there was a it's like, okay, and I was going on about, being present in the moment and this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, you really got to get up for Pete the cat after about the 5th time.
Well, he's going to college with my daughter, so I'm happy about that. Jeremy, you got the big kids, right? And as a secondary principal, I used to say little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. What are some challenges? What are some things going on? It's certainly so different from even just 10 years ago. With the technology, the phones, vaping, what are some challenges that you're looking at in your role?
It really is the plight of the high school. You get them, they walk through that door as a freshman on the first day, and you have 4 years to get them caught up. If they are off grade level in reading or math, and so you got to work hard. You got to use those diagnostics to find their deficiencies. And it's I told them this today on our training. It's like, so what? Now what? If they're off grade level, okay, so what? You can't blame, the home. You can't blame a previous school. They may be transient students or come from, different socioeconomic backgrounds, but you have to figure out a way to grow them while you got them. And hopefully if we do our job and give the tools in their tool bag, they'll be able to, pursue something post-secondary, career, college, vocational, military, whatever they aspire to be. We have to equip them the best we can so they'll be productive citizens after they leave here. Obviously, in a post-COVID world, you're looking at mental health issues. They're going through the change right now. You're looking at having those conversations, those tough conversations about, substance abuse or THC, or just a variety of things that maybe they're outside influences from, their environment or home that, we don't necessarily have control over. But instilling those coping skills and, making better choices, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. And it takes a village, man. It takes everyone on your staff to be singing that positive message. Jeremy, you mentioned about the diagnostic, and we spoke a little off air, about IXL and how it does that for you. You have it now in your school 2 or 3 years. Is IXL part of what you're doing to get that baseline with your students?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a couple of diagnostic windows, a fall, a winter, a spring. And so our ultimate goal is, number one, get everybody tested, making sure they're giving great effort. We want valid, reliable data so our teachers can make better data-driven decisions in the classroom. Not only praising, mastery, but praising students that grow, from one diagnostic to the other. And then, there's different ways you can do that in the classroom. You can step into the arena, you can practice those skills they're deficient in, you can differentiate, among 2 or 3 groups on which students have mastered what. So I think it's a really beneficial tool.
Awesome. Cool. Guys, there's a question for both of you. And Brad, we'll come back to you first. What's something that you're going to try this year? Maybe you learned a training at the end of last year, or this summer you did something. What's something that you're going to add to your toolbox for you as a leader to help lead in the school? Brad, we'll start with you.
Okay. One of the things that we're going to be doing, instructional rounds / type of instructional coaching. To give you an idea of what that looks like, when I explain this to my staff, it's a lot of times, especially if you've been in the school for some time, it's finding those errors in the building that it's hard for you to see because you live in them day to day.
Yeah.
So I can explain that to others of, there may be I call it a hole in our drywall or a hole in the wall at your house, and you live in it every day, and it's not that big a deal to you. You kind of you don't notice it. But when others come in, it's like, oh, look at this. Here's a problem. And so those are the things that we're going to kind of look at. And so it's, in reference kind of a sports theme of kind of using that as of almost watching game tape of looking at not a way to make judgment calls or this, that, and the other, but making black and white. Here's the facts. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. That way we can improve. And so in using that, you'd mentioned yesterday of teachers observing each other. I think that's something that we're going to try this year because we have several new teachers in the building. That's a piece that we've kind of gotten out of over the past few years. So that's kind of a couple of things that we're going to be doing.
Awesome. And I agree with you, right? You're doing something the same way all the time. You don't realize it. Someone else says, "Hey man, have you ever tried this?" And it opens your eyes. And it's not in a disciplinary way. It's not in a supervisor to employee way. It's colleagues helping each other. So good luck with that. That's a great program. Yeah. Jeremy, how about you? Something new you're adding to your game as a leader, a training, or something different for you?
So two things, incorporating when it comes to incorporating more student voice, more student ownership. Prior to COVID, I had a student advisory council, kind of a principal advisory council made up exclusively of students, met with them once a month. We fed them lunch and we got feedback on all sorts of things we were doing in the school, different initiatives. And it was really valuable insight. We're not just, doing it once a year with the survey, lined up next to testing. So I want to get back into that. And then also with the ownership portion of it, not just having parent teacher conferences, around the midterm or the end of the semester, but really trying to figure out a way to incorporate more student-led conferences, having them own their learning experience, having them own their data and their growth. So I don't know exactly how we're going to do it all yet, but we're going to work on it. We're going to figure it out.
Awesome. Good luck with that. I think it's great. We talked about student voice yesterday, and to hear you implementing it and making sure it's happening is great. Shout out to Superintendent Griebel. She is tuning in, and I agree. Denise, two exemplary leaders here, squeezing me in on the eve of school. I appreciate that. She brought great energy yesterday, and certainly her and Christina Thomas, designing the day. Mr. Hurley, great leadership there. So, Brad, it's a journey. You've been doing this a long time, 14 years. Your school has been there forever, 100 plus years. What do you keep doing, Brad, to stay sharp? How do you continually? We talked about sharpening that pencil. How do you keep sharpening your pencil?
Very carefully. That's first and foremost. But honestly, it's. I think it's deep inside. I mean, obviously, I am my own worst critic. It's as an avid golfer, it doesn't matter what I can shoot the course record and I'm gonna be upset because I left a couple shots out there, that kind of thing. And so I really work hard on not becoming complacent. Complacency, to use John Wooden's quotes, complacency is a disease. A lot of times it's easy to work incredibly hard once you get to the top, but then, sustaining that effort every day and inspiring others to keep doing, because a lot of times, in schools, it's success is very hard to do. It's very hard to get there. And a lot of times we don't want to change things. And because, we become used to success and we don't want to try anything new because we don't want to fail. But, that's as far as staying sharp and just constantly looking at what we're doing, of whether it be changing a program, tweaking something, it's constantly looking. And so that's, trying to make sure that, you're maximizing your effectiveness each and every year.
Well said, my friend. A lot of bullfrogs are tuning in here. Miss Yerda, Miss Henry Jackson, Heather Williams tuning in. So Hazel Green representing there. Jeremy, we also spoke about reading yesterday. You have a busy family here. Your wife, your daughter is a senior. Is she a senior at South?
She is not. She's a senior at North Laurel,
oh my God, man.
So when we bought our first house, we lived on the other side of town. And so I gave her the choice, she could come to South or she could stay where she's at. She had a good group of friends. She was involved in ball and dance and all the things, having a lot of success. And, I was that school kid. My dad was an administrator and, always knew what I did before I did it. And, had his thumb and on top of me. And, everything. So when I get done being principal at the end of the day, I just want to go home and be dad. And so it worked out, for both of us, really. She got her independence. She got to do her own thing. And it's fun at our house, because, she and my wife are both North Laurel Jaguars, and I'm over here, the head man of the Cardinals. So it's a fun time.
Wow, that must be some interesting dinner conversation.
Right.
Well, Back in Black, it was representing yesterday. Do your job. I loved it. How about the reading, Jeremy? How do you make sure you do it? What's your strategy? We talked about that yesterday. And what are you currently reading?
So really 2 books. You just have to prioritize it. Either you get up early enough to do it, before you work out, or you make time in the evenings. And I like what you said the other day about putting the phone in a different room. You really got to have priorities, maybe making sure it's on your nightstand or close enough where you can reach it before you go to bed. Be Useful by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. I'm kind of going back and forth between both of those right now. So
cool. So do you freely do that? You just kind of pick a book up. You don't have to say, I got to finish this book before.
It's changing channels. Yeah. So I'm back and forth between a couple of them.
Are you a underliner, circular, page folder? How do you consume the book?
I really don't have, a strategy for it. I'm a math guy at heart. That's what I taught for several years. So, I don't really have a strategy for it. I just go until, I want to pick up the next one.
Nice. I like it. Jeremy, let's stay with you here. We can't give everything that we have as a school leader in the job we're doing if we don't have some outside school passions, things that light our fire, that we look forward to. What are some of those for you? And then how do they help you be a great leader in your school?
You're right. It's hard to let go sometimes. It's hard to, just leave it all at the door. It's always going to be there when you get back. So, I love to exercise, love to work out. I love to travel. So just disconnecting sometimes. This was probably the first year in 12 years where we went on vacation this summer, and I left my work phone at home. And
wow.
I texted Miss Griebel and I texted my staff. I said, hey, look, I'm going to be unavailable from these dates to these dates. You can call Mr. Lowe or Miss Brett's. Here's their email. Here's their phone numbers. So just getting to disconnect and be with family and friends. It was a good trip. So
how many messages were on the phone when you got back?
About 1 billion.
Well, good for you, man. That must have been hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you, Jeremy. Brad, how about you? Some things outside of school that light your fire, but allow you to be a better leader in school.
Like I mentioned earlier, I like to play golf. Very simple. I didn't. Honestly, since I have so many, staff that are tuning in, this is truly one of the best jobs that you could have. And so I'm truly blessed to be in this spot, to know that, that's cliche and this, that, and the other, but, and honestly, kind of touching on a personal note, I've had a couple different job endeavors that probably didn't work out the way I thought they should. However, it takes a little bit to realize that nothing happens by chance. There is a purpose for everything that we have. And so I'm a firm believer in that. I'm truly where I need to be at this time. And so that's where I'm at.
Good for you. I agree with you. It's all going to work out and the way it's supposed to be. What percentage of your school shirts are green?
Well, not just green, Kelly green.
Kelly green.
We are, and so I'm, honestly, one of the, notice I didn't mention anything about working out and this, that, and the other. So there's a lot of Kelly green in my wardrobe. Big boy sizes.
They represent
percentage of school colors. I would say 80%. If it's a shade of green, I've got it. My buddies on the golf course are always asking, like, golly, Mullins, don't you have any other shade of green? Any other color?
But Brad, don't you have a Christmas sweater with your face on it?
Well, kid, he stole the show last year. We did a faculty meeting at a local restaurant, so the theme was ugly Christmas sweater, and so it was a punch in the gut when Jeremy came in and has the big mug of Mullins posted all over his shirt.
Jeremy wore the Mullins shirt.
Yeah, I probably got it here somewhere.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, it's great spirit yesterday. These guys are good-looking guys. They certainly look different today than they did yesterday. Brad had the green wig on there. Jeremy was decked out with the baseball cap and his South gear. And again, the way each school represented their school was just tremendous. So, Brad, let's stay with you. Something else you wanted to share? Anything you wanted to say, or what's your message to not only Hazel Green, but to all the educators that are watching the show tonight?
Probably something I share with my teachers today, and this kind of goes along the lines of kind of a back to school theme. A lot of times it's easy to be motivated in August, but February and March, it gets tough. And so one of the things that I had all my staff do today, we were, just take a couple minutes to think about the most impactful teacher that you had in elementary and middle school in your entire school career. Who was the most impactful? Chances are you're not going to remember the lessons that they had. You're not going to remember, the way they explained Pythagorean's theorem was just mind blowing. You're going to remember the way they treated you. You're going good or bad. And so that's what I wanted to be cognizant about of, we are everything to somebody that's coming in our building.
Well said there. Jeremy, how about you? Something you wanted to share?
Something that I share with my staff, if we're really the South Laurel family and we're really a team, at the end of the day, we are relying on one another. We're holding each other accountable, top down, from administration to department chairs to classified staff. So, we're only going to be the best when everybody does their job. We can't get our kids here without bus drivers. We can't get them fed without cafeteria workers. We can't teach every single class. So we're relying on each other in this team to make school happen, to make school work. And we're only going to be as good as we want to be. So coming in and giving it, you're all doing your job every day. So that way, we can be a strong team. We can be a strong family.
It was great that those groups you mentioned were represented yesterday. The whole district was there, cafeteria, transportation, maintenance. It was great to have those groups included. Guys, here's a curveball. This was not on the question list, but it's your first day tomorrow. The kids are there, but you guys have done this before. What's your message, Jeremy, from the veteran Jeremy to the rookie Jeremy, that rookie teacher, the rookie principal, that first day is tomorrow? What are you looking back and telling that person?
Oh man, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. I think in year one, you need to take care of your people. You need to listen a lot. You've got 2 ears for a reason. You got 1 mouth. So you need to take it all in. You need to analyze. You need to ask questions. You need to be out in the hallways. You can't be behind your desk. You got to be available. You got to be approachable. You need to take notes, whether if that's, old school paper, pencil on a clipboard, or you're taking notes on your phone, and then just kind of, there you go. And not changing a whole lot in that first year, but just seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then kind of, taking that time at Christmas break or at the end of the year to reassess. But, with anything you're trying to implement, there's different implementation phases. There's different implementation drivers that you got to recruit. You got to get people to buy in. So don't go too fast in year one.
Brad?
First year veteran, rookie year, obviously, probably listen more. A lot of times it's easy to get caught up in, because that's I call it the honeymoon period for a new principal is very small. It's that turnaround time is, it's, so you have that pressure to implement change and really get the ball rolling. But the steps that you do early on to build culture will pay dividends for years to come. And so, it's something that, obviously my style of, I feel like that's a strength of mine. I'm very empathetic to others, and I feel like I'm a good listener, and I truly, Todd Whitaker, I'm a huge avid reader of Todd Whitaker, making it cool to care, and that's a piece there of just knowing now what I know then. It's like, okay, you're right. It's okay to do that. So, but that would be my advice, make sure that the culture is set, and, that way, that will pay dividends long term.
Good stuff, man. Brad Mullins, Jeremy Kidd, both from Laurel County, Kentucky schools. They're opening school tomorrow. Principals and leaders there, well respected, also in district. Guys, this has been fun. It's, having two people on could be tricky, but you guys both made it work here. And again, thank you for squeezing it in. You had a busy couple days, and you're kicking it off tomorrow. So let's get you out of here. These are rapid fire, guys. These are quick answers. First thing that comes to mind. Brad, you're up first. Last movie you saw?
Tombstone.
Jeremy, last concert you went to?
Boys the Men in Indianapolis.
Oh, nice. Brad, last song you sang out loud in the car?
Long White Line by Sturgill Simpson.
Jeremy, favorite dish?
Wings.
Yes, nice. Where are you going near the Corbin? There was a lot of restaurants. Where are you going near the Corbin for wings?
Oh, no, I'm staying in London for Wings and Rings.
Okay. Brad, favorite vacation activity?
Laying on the beach. Politically correct.
Jeremy, in 2025, I have fill in the blank.
In 2025, I have, I don't know, laughed a lot, learned a lot.
Nice. Brad, in 2025, I have stopped
Counting calories.
Jeremy, you're a superhero. You're a high school principal. What is your superpower?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe time travel. Go back and fix those mistakes.
There you go.
But we learn from them. We learn. We're better for them, That's how we learn. Brad, what's a pet peeve of yours?
When golfers don't fix ball marks on the green.
Ooh, can I jump in on this one too?
Yes, sir.
There's a difference between reply and reply all on an email.
Oh,
We need a PD for that one. Reply and reply all.
it's not that we get surprised; we just get disappointed.
I concur there. The amount of people that are not email savvy. Yeah. Wow. Brad, Laurel County is fill in the blank.
Home of some of the finest principals that I've ever known and worked with.
Yeah. Amen to that. They all did a great job coming up on stage yesterday, and again recognizing the staff there. Also home to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Is that right?
Right.
Laurel County, right? The original shop was there.
Yeah.
Corbin, Kentucky. I guess it would be. I guess it would be important in Laurel County. I'm not exactly sure. That'd be.
Yeah. You're right.
Close enough.
Yeah.
We claimed it, but not.
Tri-County. Yeah. Did Colonel Sanders? He didn't go to Hazel Green, right? I mean,
we would have his recipe
in the cafeteria.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, what's one thing you're curious about?
Astrophysics, black holes, aliens. I don't know.
Whoa, this guy's going high level there. Brad, not something about Rebecca Siri, but something about Brad Mullins that people don't know about.
I actually was fortunate enough to have and it's not because of my coaching style. I'll trust that in case this video ever gets out, but a couple of kids I had on a golf team years ago when I was a golf coach, played D1 golf, one of them, Chip McDaniel. He had the name of Mr. Monday. He got to play in the U.S. Open, with Brooks Koepka at Pebble a couple of years ago.
Wow. Very cool. Nice. Guys, I love quotes. We threw a bunch out of there yesterday. You both said a bunch of great ones today. But what's a quote you live by? What's a quote you stand by? It might be on your wall or something that might be on a tattoo. What's something that resonates for you? Jeremy, we'll throw that to you first.
This is one from Simon Sinek from his book, Leaders Eat Last. It said, leaders are the ones who run first into the unknown. They rush towards danger. They put their own interests aside to protect us or pull us into the future. Leaders would sooner sacrifice what is theirs to save what is ours, and they would never sacrifice what is ours to save what is theirs. This is what it means to be a leader. It means they choose first to go into danger, head first towards the unknown.
2 claps to that. Man. Brad, how about you?
I have to keep with the jovial nature of the elementary principal. So to share some office knowledge, or of the show, The Office Knowledge, to quote Dwight K. Schrute, before I do something stupid, I ask if an idiot would do that, and then I do not do that thing.
Oh, man. Friends, this is Brad Mullins and Jeremy Kidd from Laurel County, Kentucky, kicking off school tomorrow. A lot of their colleagues tuned in tonight. Thank you for watching, friends. And if you're watching this on record, certainly jump in and leave a positive comment. Man, I wish you the best of health to you, and certainly a successful and significant school year to both of you. Thank you so much. Jeremy, any parting words?
Let's get it. Let's get it tomorrow. Let's go.
Nice. Brad?
Let's go. Bullfrogs.
Nice. Men, stay on the line a second. This has been great. We are going to sign off here on the podcast. If you are open in school tomorrow, good luck to you. We need you now more than ever in education. Take care of yourself and continue to survive and thrive. This is Jeremy Kidd and Brad Mullins, everybody, Laurel County, Kentucky.